Your transformation has been kind of amazing over the years. Your combination of command and stuff is it's just fun to watch, and your demeanor. So we're going to get into a lot of that. But you didn't
Okay.
always start out this like that. Like you weren't like this amazing dude growing up. I mean, at least to my knowledge, you weren't. What's your story?
Yeah. I was a bit of a late bloomer, so to speak. And so in high school, from how I remember it, I was probably sitting 84 to 86, touching 87. And I could always pitch. I could command the ball. I could change speeds. The velocity wasn't there, so a lot of the stuff wasn't there either. I think that's what became very apparent, at least in the last few years. Like, obviously, it's a direct correlation, velocity to stuff. And so at that point in high school, I wasn't really getting recruited or anything, heavily. But so the word on me is I was a walk on in college, but it wasn't like I showed up in sweatpants and asked to borrow a glove and let me try out, coach.
It's a
But
better story if you say that.
I mean, that'd be crazy. I wasn't like a fictional character or like or Rudy or anything, but I was offered a preferred walk on, which is no money. Yeah, for those that don't know, no money. So no security, so to speak, at the college level. Obviously, if you're giving a kid scholarship, he's going to get more opportunity, more chances, and probably going to stay on the roster and the team for longer if it comes down to a scholarship player versus a non-scholarship player. And so they said they'd get me into school at UC Santa Barbara, and that was the kicker for me. That was like, I didn't know in high school if I was going to play college ball or not. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was something I wanted to pursue or if I'd even get the opportunity. And so if I had the opportunity to, I was always going to try to be a student at UCSB. I had some friends go there before me. I had visited. It's like an incredible place, incredible campus. So it was my number one school. And when they offered me a preferred walk-on spot, I said, "So you get me into school?" And they said, "Yeah, we'll push you through." And I had pretty good grades, but I was kind of borderline for that school. It's a great degree. And once they said that they would push me through, I was like, yeah, let's see where it goes. And fortunately, there's a lot that goes into that. I was able to gain that support from my parents. They were, unbelievable, and the opportunities that they presented to me and carved these pathways for me. And I was able to just go out there and play the game that I enjoyed and see where I landed.
So what was that like? Your parents growing up? I mean, were their goals like always, sports related? Was it academics first? What was their focus, and how excited were they when you were, to watch your development? That's kind of sick.
Yeah, super cool. That's something that I enjoy, every outing, just being able to call them and, good or bad. I've always been able to lean on them for reflection and positivity and all sorts of stuff. But they always had a good balance. Looking back, like, they didn't push baseball super hard. They obviously pushed work ethic, determination, all those things those values that you want to instill in your kid. But they pushed schoolwork just as hard because, like I said, I was kind of, I wasn't sure which direction I was going to go. And so, like I said, they were very supportive when the opportunity for UC Santa Barbara came out. A lot of it because of the degree and the prowess that school, has on its own, away from the baseball program. And, that's kind of the way we looked at it. Was like, okay, well, obviously I'd love to play baseball for 4 or 5 years there. But even more importantly, with where I was at in high school, not getting recruited, too heavily, it was kind of more about the degree when it came to the decision-making process.
So
And so, yeah.
yeah, I didn't want
No,
to
you're
interrupt
good.
you. Keep going.
That was about it.
I was going to ask you about the high school thing because it's one of those conundrums. Like, you have the pitchability, like you can win games in high school with just, plus command and okay velo, but at the next level to get colleges to look at you, you kind of need the velo aspect of it. Is
Yeah.
that something that you in retrospect, developing command first help you, or do you feel like you should have developed velo first?
No, in retrospect, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Obviously, you see guys do the opposite path of development. It works out great for them as well. But for me, I felt like that was something that was essential. Just the way it all played out. I could always, like I said, I could always pitch. I put up good numbers. I didn't have that swing and miss stuff or that velocity. But there's a story that I like to tell, especially in Southern California too, right? Like it's a high level of baseball down there, especially in high school and travel ball. Um, and so there was this game. I remember I went to a relatively smaller school in Southern California, still a lot more kids than normal, but we were playing Dana Hills, and there was I forget, I think his name was Blake Taylor. Ended up going in the first or second round out of high school. Big arm lefty, throwing mid 90s, and we were facing off, and I was juiced up about it, and it was a home game, and a bunch of students are coming down, and even more scouts, and everybody pulls out their radar guns, and I remember him kind of having a tougher outing, and he got yanked a little bit early, and at that point I was still hitting, and so I was on third base. I think he was having some command issues, so he got pulled early. And I watch all these scouts just once he got yanked, they pack up their bags, they break down their radar guns, throw it in their bags, and head out. And I'm on third base. I'm like, where are you guys going? I got stuff to show you. I ended up having a good outing, but it's the way the recruitment, the scouting process goes. I wasn't close to that sexy number of 90. I don't know if that number has bumped up as the years have passed, but that's kind of at that point, that was the number that everybody was looking for, to kind of give you a second one. And so I remember that story that kind of fueled my fire a little bit, and put a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, but it's funny looking back on it, and that's kind of just how my process was, but I'm happy the way it's playing out.
So I remember that Bat said we went through the whole recruiting process with my kid going to East Cobb and all the perfect game
Mm-hmm.
tournaments. Is the most demoralizing thing when you see scouts like, oh, yeah, I'm good, I'm going to put my gun away. And you're like, wait,
Yep.
wait, wait.
Yeah. I was like, you don't want to see some 86s painted on the outside half? Yeah.
But now they're regretting it. I mean, geez.
I hope so.
Yeah. So what clicked for you? Was it just physically developing? Was it something mechanical? So why did you make that jump to where you are now?
A lot of it was just physical development. I came in my freshman year, I was like a buck 60. And I probably put on maybe a little bit more than 30 pounds my freshman year. Some of it good, some of it bad, but either way, that translated to velocity and to a little bit better stuff, a little bit of an uptick. I started hitting 90, 91, maybe at the end of my freshman year, and just tried to continue to climb, got on a better food and weight program, and just started working. And obviously, it wasn't all physical. A lot of it was mental, learning the mental side of the game, especially in college. That's something that Coach Checketts over at UCSB is big on. I learned quite a bit from him in that aspect. But a lot of it was just, giving myself and my body the time to put in that work and just continue to trust that you're going to see the results.
So one of the things you just touched on it is the mental game, and I think that is a big separator that not a lot of people focus on. You have a very calm exterior during a game, and I didn't know if is that something you work on constantly, like to just chill, one pitch at a time mentality. Were you always like that? How did you hone it, if not?
Yeah, for me, it's been a lot of trial and error, to be honest. So in college, I started learning about it and started learning about that FU mentality, and like there's so much value, and it's hard to like quantify it, but it's incredible, just baseball in general, how much value is in conviction, and being able to throw each pitch with conviction, whether it's the right pitch in that sequence or not. I think you whatever pitch you are most confident in, whatever pitch you're going to throw with the most conviction is going to be the best pitch for that sequence, right? And it's going to put yourself in the best spot. Now, if you can do that while also learning how to sequence pitches and being confident in the right sequence, then you're going to put yourself in the best possible spot. But I learned about that in college. I took it a little bit too far looking back, like my start days, like don't even look at me. I was kind of a dick, but once I got into pro ball and started throwing every fifth day, I was like, man, that's exhausting. Like I can't be like that every fifth day for 162 plus, and that'll just be a lot. So I learned how to translate that into a pitch to pitch type deal, at bat to at bat, inning to inning. But in terms of like before game rituals and not being the nicest or the best conversationalist on my start days, that was me in college. And as I've continued to progress throughout both the minor leagues and the major leagues, I've kind of learned how to balance that out. Like I said, there's so much value to conviction and to confidence, but at the same time, being able to hone that in like inside and in yourself, and to not be overly outward with your body language. I've found that has the most value to me.
Yeah, it's funny because it varies. I think there's, it's obviously the Corey Kluber mentality versus a Max Scherzer mentality, or
Right.
a James Karinchak mentality, where where he just looks like
XL dog.
Yeah, he's insane. But having that, so to me, and again, this is just sitting back, it looks to me like you pick little things from players, and I don't know if you intentionally do it, but like mental game stuff, to me, I don't know, like, it was Kluber an influence in some of the stuff you do, or no?
Yeah, I think whether it's consciously or subconsciously, absolutely. I've taken little tidbits from him, and a lot of that has to do with throughout the minor league process. Klubs was on an incredible run and had already established like a crazy career, and so throughout the developmental process, everything, it was Corey Kluber this, Corey Kluber that. This is what he does. They're always showing, anytime they're showing mechanics or film or stuff, it's Klubs, right? And so learned quite a bit from him. Not just in person once I was able to get up and make my debut, but even before then, before I had even met him. And so just being able to find value in little things from all sorts of guys around the league. Like I remember seeing the value when I first got called up in 2018. The rest of the rotation was Kluber, Bauer, Carrasco, Clevenger, and Tomlin. And that's an incredible staff right there as it is. And some guys, at that point, Clev and Bauer were the younger guys, and then had already established those other three. And they all threw differently. They all had different pitching styles, different mentalities. And so I found a ton of value in just coming up, kind of being a fly on the wall in 18 and trying to learn as much as possible from each and every one of those guys.